My name is Margaret, excuse me, Margaret Ann Windsor, and I've been putting the videos on since I believe it was August the 3rd of last year. And that's my real name, Margaret Ann Windsor, and the name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. I'm married to Childers. I've explained that on the other videos over and over, so you could understand where I'm coming from. Right now, this is I believe today's what, the 25th of September 2014. And the reason I'm doing this one, and I'm beginning to think that nothing I do, I've beat down the doors of all the TV, well, all I could reach. Channel 7 here, Channel 10, Channel 13. I've been to D.C., I've been to Huntsville, Alabama, where I worked for the district attorney there in 80, Atlanta, Georgia, where I wrote a medical malpractice book called MD: A License to Kill. And I'm showing this because this is when I was writing about mind control and murders. I'd worked for doctors, and I was actually shown after I left the doctor's offices working there, I went to work for, let me just say, a produce company. And it was a big one. I was in bookkeeping, accounting. And she was the head bookkeeper. And she actually showed me insurance forms where one of the doctors I worked for, who was cardiovascular, they had put an implant in a surgery they'd done on, I believe his name was Fairshow. He was chairman of the board. I'll go ahead and say it, Dixon Tomato. Sounds little, but it was huge back then. But anyway, the deal was he'd had a heart bypass, and this is back in, actually that would have happened, I guess, in 77, yeah. So, I began finding out I'd known that murders were being done in patterns. I didn't know the mechanism used, that it was mind control. So when I tried to tell it, nobody wanted to hear it. That doesn't happen here. And back then, doctors don't do those things. I was writing about Larry McDonald, the U.S. congressman from Atlanta, Piedmont Hospital urologist. I was writing about Warren and Rosina Matthews, pathologists that they were forensic pathologists at Piedmont Hospital, which is where Larry McDonald was doctor. And they were tried in Cobb County. They were shot, and they actually told about the girl that testified in it originally was hypnotized. So at least they had that part. But so much happened to me. I had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of 79, and it was from the U.S. Attorney, but it was directed by the FBI to be sent. U.S. Attorney William Harper. This is Snowden. I guess my whole thing's going to fall here. It's early in the morning, and what else can I say? It is going to fall. I showed you the Hustler magazine. That's kind of, everybody knows Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville. Now, anyway, I was flown out there during the campaign to replace Larry McDonald a few years later in 83 when the 007 Korean jetliner went down middle of the ocean en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. And I'll tell you this, looking back, that was planned is how I know, and I'm not psychic, okay? That takedown was planned while I lived at Laurelwood Apartments, while I was doing the book and got the letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office. So anyway, later, April Fool Day of 80, I had antifreeze put in me, and it's been a joke. Everybody want to know how it feels to have antifreeze put in you? You don't want to live. I'm supposed to die. My kidneys shut down, go in a coma. And besides that, I went for a tox screen, And none of these people have been arrested at West Paces Ferry. And the world should see what happened to me there and later. I finally ended up illegally across the state line, taken across the state line to Huntsville, where I passed a background check and worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. So you get into the codes there, who the name Simpson, and I could go on and on, but, and that, by the way, is when John Lennon was killed by Mark David Chapman. I want to say this, well, it gets too much to even tell, and I wonder if anybody's even paying attention. The Wayne Williams, I was trying to tell about the Wayne Williams murders, and that mind control was used in those, and he was convicted, I believe, in '82, and he's in prison now. And CNN has done programs on that where he was recruited or in training for the CIA just outside Atlanta. But he's in prison now. That's the mind control murder. He was under mind control, and I'm not sure he even did all those murders. But anyway, it was shut down, and Mary Welcome had spoken with me, and she was going to take a deposition from me about it. That's Wayne's attorney. And suddenly I'm about to be killed again, and really I thought I was going to be. And a reporter friend of mine, and Salvador Vizini, who was an ex-FBI who was moved in there as police chief, actually did save my life. I would be dead if it wasn't for them. I have no doubt. But anyway, Wayne Williams, even Maynard Jackson was a black mayor, and the police commissioner was, oh my goodness, please don't let me forget his name. Well, you can look it up. He went on to become the commissioner at Houston, police commissioner and mayor, and then he was added to the staff of Bill Clinton as drug czar. So anyway, the two of them was on Good Morning America back then, and they just before Wayne was arrested. So I don't know what year, 81, that they said that Wayne wasn't guilty. It was a mechanism used. Well, they didn't go further enough and say that the mechanism was mind control, and that I was telling them about they were deliberately done in patterns. So here's where I want to get to, and I'll leave it. The List was a book by Chet Detlinger, ex-FBI, that wrote the list about the Wayne Williams murders. In the last couple of pages, 3, or the last chapter, told how many people were killed, died, or actually moved, like in the John F. Kennedy, who, by the way, was part of my kidnapping and bringing me to this country. But people died weird and strange in the Wayne Williams, and they had accused Chet Detlinger, the ex-FBI, and of course they ended up for the murders, and he wrote a book about it, The List. But the point made is the FBI changed the people down at headquarters in the FBI. Actually, there was a turnover then in 1980 when all this happened. Not a word about me. Nobody's ever paid for what a moment of the hell and ongoing crimes committed against me and my family and the British. But back to that. The FBI actually came in there and they wrote about this in The List, the book by Chet Detlinger of Wayne Williams, those murders. They actually come in and told that that's the first time the profilers had been used, and they were there in Atlanta on the Wayne Williams. Well, they've actually told you who's doing the mind control murders, but it's the Americans. They're living good. They don't want to butt heads with the FBI. So they'd rather shut me up, shut it all up. And I want to end by saying this. I'm British. I'm Victoria II, legal heir, and I put this on other tapes. And I'm going to say this because now they've just arrested this black man for the abduction of Hannah Elizabeth Graham. She's a student at Virginia Tech. She's English. And I am so sad to even have to include her in any of this. I know her parents are in a lot of pain. This could have been stopped if the United States press or any people had gotten together and marched or had billboards It helped tell about the murders.